Itadori Yuji, the main character of Jujutsu Kaisen, has just risen to the heights of peak sorcery, displaying power unlike any version of Yuji we've seen before. But now that we have Itadori's true origins revealed, as well as his own full-fledged and unique curse technique, we can finally explore Itadori Yuji in his entirety and understand how much more of an impact he has left to leave on the story. Able to stand on even ground with the King of Curses, at least for the moment, let's get into what makes end of series Yuji Itadori skyrocket into a very realistic and satisfying power level. First things first, addressing the largest confirmation would be the connection between Itadori Yuji and Ryomen Sukuna. From the beginning, from how similar the two characters appeared to the constant hatred spewed between them. It's almost as if Yuji and Sukuna had a previous history. The resemblance going as far as Yuji and Sukuna's cursed energy even having a similar vibe, something that's apparent even as the two souls were split apart once Sukuna took over Megami. Arame even picked up on this and mentioned it to Sukuna before the battle with Gojo. And it's here we get one of the largest reveals in all of Jujutsu Kaisen, which is Ryomen Sukuna being a sorcerer who was almost cursed with the terrible omen of being born a twin. In order to save himself from dying of starvation, Ryomen Sukuna devoured his brother in the womb, absorbing the fetus's body and condemning its soul to wander eternally. A malnourished pregnancy and the taboo meal Ryomen Sukuna endured then led to his disfigured and vile appearance. Sukuna's second pair of eyes, arms, and the large maw on his stomach, most likely a result of the two fetuses fusing and Sukuna's soul ejecting the siblings. This sibling soul, according to Sukuna, most likely spent years residing in limbo. Whether it's something similar to being a ghost, general reincarnation, or Kenjaku just messing with the cursed realm and plucking the sibling soul from it directly. Either way, at some point, Kenjaku found his hands on it. Sukuna himself is unclear of how exactly it occurred, but somehow, Jin Itadori was born, a man who held the reincarnated soul of Sukuna's twin. Whether through Kenjaku's own doing or discovering Jin later in life, Kenjaku would take the vessel of Kaori Itadori and conceive a child with Jin, interlocking the sibling soul with Itadori Yuji. And by Kenjaku bearing the burden of pregnancy themselves, as opposed to forcing another to endure, like with the death paintings, Kenjaku was able to create an anomaly in Jujutsu, a calamity not even he could control. This lends even more meaning to Itadori and Sukuna being the eye of the storm of curses. And this is also backed up by statements of Gojo, who even mentions Itadori as something that happens once in 1,000 years. Whether the Six Eyes had always clued Gojo into Yuji's connection to the sibling soul is unclear. Although, based on Gojo not even telling Megami about Toji's death, it's not out of character for Gojo to leave crucial information like that out. While Sukuna is unsure about why Kenjaku created Yuji, he isn't stupid enough to think that it was for no reason, potentially opening up the possibility of Itadori's body still holding some of Kenjaku's secrets inside of it. However, if this is the case, we most likely won't find out about that until the merger comes into play as Kenjaku's last final hoorah in the afterlife. This does all make sense though as to why Sukuna would hate Itadori so much. Sukuna doesn't completely figure out Yuji's origin until after he swaps bodies with Megami. But even if it was just a subconscious hatred, Sukuna definitely felt some kind of special type of annoyance to Yuji, never calling him by his name no matter how much Itadori grew. And at this point, Itadori's providing more of a challenge than some of the people Sukuna has chosen to acknowledge. But we'll get into all of Yuji's powers in a little bit. It seems to me that Sukuna feels angry that a person he tossed aside has come back to haunt him, Yuji essentially being a direct curse for Ryomen Sukuna, a reminder of the evil deed Sukuna committed in order to even emerge and take his first breath in the world, that first sin that Sukuna can never escape. On the flip side, this explains why Yuji, even for the short time he's been a sorcerer, has grown so exceptionally. Arame themselves mentions that Itadori's connection to Sukuna may even result in Yuji's potential having the same sky-high ceiling. Itadori Yuji was born with a body that was comparable almost to heavenly restriction, having nigh superhuman traits even before unlocking his cursed energy. After a small talk with Aoi Todo, Itadori Yuji can concentrate his curse energy to such a degree he lands a black flash the very day he learns what it is. And by discovering the core of his own cursed energy and continually landing black flashes that remind him of that power, and eating a lot of Sukuna's fingers, Yuji was continually supplied with more and more cursed output. By the time we reach Shibuya, Itadori can contend with special grade curse spirit Mahito. The only thing holding Yuji back in the culling game was a proper curse technique, as we see his biggest flaw on full display in his almost loss to Higuruma Hiromi. Not only was Itadori Yuji's massive potential confirmed, but the fact that he's fully capable of realizing it here and now is very apparent. Before the Shinjuku Showdown, Itadori Yuji was given all of the tools he required to unlock his powers. Able to endlessly devour cursed objects, Itadori Yuji's hold over his own soul and massive reserves of cursed energy from absorbing 75% of Sukuna's strength allows Yuji to immediately dominate any object he devours and subjugate their power. By consuming all the remaining death paintings, Yuji was able to level up significantly, even without the rest of Sukuna's fingers, and he opened up blood manipulation into his arsenal. Although Yuji can't manifest blood outside of his own body with convergence just yet. And after Yuji admits to himself he and Mahito were just two sides of the same coin, and extensively learning all of Yuki Tsukumo's research on the soul, Itadori has gained a significant grasp on soul manipulation as well. He is now able to extend his understanding of soul outlines to others outside of Mahito, now effectively whittling down Sukuna's soul with each direct attack. Damage that, no matter how much Sukuna tries to, will always hurt and lower his energy reserves. This dominance over the soul is something that only Itadori Yuji is capable of, thanks to his unique coexistence with Ryomen Sukuna, and at a time, being two spirits inside one body. The only other beings who may be able to grasp this concept would be Hanakurusu and Angel, as Choso admits, despite being a cursed object inside of a host body, because he subjugated and snuffed out the original vessel's soul, Choso can't visualize it, reinforcing Itadori Yuji's special role and importance in the final battle to save Megami and defeat Sukuna. Combining all of this with reverse curse technique, it was clear Itadori Yuji had reached a new level of strength even in the early stages of the Shinjuku Showdown. However, what has essentially cemented Itadori in the tiers of the greats is his new reveal of finally awakening to Shrine. Although it's a low output right now since Yuji just recently mastered the technique, Sukuna himself has confirmed Itadori Yuji can now effectively use Dismantle or Cleave. The entire concept and design is different, as Yuji's shrine had awakened in a different era and the new sorcerer has his own sense of imagination, but the technique cannot be denied. As Yuji places his palms on an object or person, Yuji's able to plaster lines across the target that look like directions to follow for scissor cutting. By imbuing his cursed energy into these dotted lines, the target becomes cleaved at the seams. This explains the cut on Sukuna's finger long ago, the eye change in Yuji symbolizing the growth and connection Itadori has to the sibling soul and Sukuna's blood, granting Yuji access to the curse technique. Much like his mother Kenjaku, Itadori's brain is also capable of withstanding multiple curse techniques. One slot for blood manipulation, the other for shrine. And at this point, with Itadori being able to, for all intents and purposes, command the sparks of black even better than Sukuna, frankly, better than anyone in history, Black Flash may as well be a recurring power in Yuji's arsenal as well. Scoring a total of 8 Black Flashes against Sukuna in a disastrous combo that even forces the King of Curses to lose his composure. The very fact that a brat like Itadori Yuji, a curse Sukuna tossed away long ago, is coming back to spit in the king's face with a feat he himself has never been able to accomplish. And Sukuna is supposed to be the pinnacle of Jujutsu. But to be fair, if anyone should be able to surpass the king, it should be the sibling soul, Itadori Yuji, the only other being with the same scale of potential. While I don't yet believe Itadori Yuji has reached a power level similar to Gojo, or can even square up with Ryomen Sukuna one-on-one if both of them were reset back to 100%, the biggest question I have to ask is if Itadori is constantly just stacking on stronger and stronger buffs with all of these black flashes. When Mahito, Todo, and Yuji unlocked their potential, they reached 120% after 1 or 2. What kind of power amasses in a being that hits a storm of 8? There's only more to come as Itadori Yuji continues to push Sukuna into an unfavorable position. And judging by how angry the King of Curses is, the quote-unquote unamused and holding back Sukuna might finally need to start revealing some of his hidden cards. It wouldn't surprise me if this was only the beginning of Itadori Yuji's Zenkai boost, and he has yet to show us everything he has to offer. Let alone with Black Flash buffs, or just Itadori having the natural main character development to rise in strength as the final battle continues, I can promise you I will be here for it. Thank you all so much for watching. Shouts out to Ino in the comments. This was a Yuji video, but to be honest, he wins best support character of the whole damn arc. Held it down the whole fight and just stayed wanting the smoke when no one else did. Like that video for Ino, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.